Have you ever walked into a room and felt like the air had changed? Like something warm and familiar had gone missing, but no one else seemed to notice? That quiet shift can happen after you lose someone, a partner, a best friend, your person. Suddenly, the world keeps moving, but everything in you feels paused. And then comes the question you maybe didn't expect. Who am I now? It's a question that can feel too big to answer, especially when it's wrapped up in grief, loneliness, or just plain confusion. After decades of being part of a pair, you're not just adjusting to their absence, you're trying to relearn how to stand tall on your own. And that's where confidence gets shaken. Not the flashy, loud kind of confidence, but the quiet belief that you still matter, that you still have something beautiful to offer, that you can still belong. So let's talk about that today, about you, about how to start rebuilding that confidence, piece by piece, after loss. This isn't about pretending the pain isn't there. It's about honoring what was, and still choosing to walk forward with your chin a little higher, your heart a little more open. In this video, we're going to explore 5 simple, meaningful ways to rebuild confidence after losing a spouse or partner. You don't need to do them all at once. You don't need to be perfect. But each one is a small step that says, I'm still here, and I'm still becoming. Let's start with something that might surprise you. Changing up your routine. You see, routines have a way of holding memories. The coffee mug they always used, the chair they always sat in, the evening walk you used to take side by side. And those little things? They can quietly reinforce the idea that your life is now missing something essential. But when you tweak your routine just slightly, you give your brain a new path to walk. That could mean moving your favorite chair to a new corner, drinking your morning tea on the porch instead of the kitchen, adding something small to your week, like a weekly walk with a neighbor or a visit to the library. These aren't meant to erase the past. They're about proving to yourself that life can still stretch, still open, still welcome you. I once spoke with a woman named Carol who lost her husband after 42 years of marriage. Every night she used to cook dinner at 5 on the dot, just like they always had. But after his passing, she found herself staring at an empty table. She told me, "It was like I was trying to fit into a space that no longer existed." One day, she tried something different. She made breakfast for dinner at 7 p.m. just because she could. She lit a candle, played music, and sat by the window. And you know what she said after? It felt silly, but also like I had given myself permission to live differently now. That felt good. Sometimes confidence starts with a pancake at sunset. Now let's talk about something a little deeper, giving yourself permission to grieve out loud. So many people, especially as we get older, feel like we need to be the strong one. We bottle things up, smile politely, and carry on. But holding it all in can quietly wear away your sense of self. It takes a lot of strength to pretend you're fine, but it takes even more to be real about your pain and still choose to keep going. Confidence after loss doesn't mean pretending you're not hurting. It means trusting that your feelings are valid, even if they come out messy. Let yourself cry. Talk to someone who really listens. Write a letter to the one you lost. Join a support group, even if it's just online or once a month. Say their name. Remember your memories out loud. There's a kind of power in honesty. It reminds you that you're not broken, you're human. And humans heal by feeling, not by hiding. A man I met recently, George, used to say nothing about his wife's passing. Everyone assumed he was doing okay because he didn't speak about it. Then one day, at a family dinner, he told a story about the first time they met. His daughter said afterward, "It was like we got a piece of him back that night." Sharing your story doesn't erase the sadness, but it brings back your voice. And confidence comes from using your voice again, even softly. So now that we've talked about reshaping your routine and allowing your grief to be seen, let's talk about the people around you. Because confidence isn't just rebuilt in silence, it's reflected in the eyes of those who truly see you. And that means finding connection again, even if it's scary. One of the hardest things after losing a partner is that sense of sudden emptiness. At the dinner table, in the passenger seat, in conversations where your stories used to finish each other's sentences. It's a kind of quiet that lingers, even when the TV's on or the phone rings. And in that quiet, it's easy to feel like you're fading a little too, like you've become invisible in your own life. But connection, real connection, can help rebuild what's been shaken. It doesn't have to look like making dozens of new friends or throwing yourself into noisy crowds. It's about choosing to let someone in, just one person at a time. A neighbor you haven't talked to in a while, a cousin you used to be close with, a book club at the library, a local church or walking group, anywhere there's a chance to be seen, heard, and accepted. What often holds people back is the thought, what do I have to offer now? But that's just fear speaking in disguise. Because the truth is, your presence matters more than you know. Your voice, your laughter, your wisdom, it lights up rooms, even if you can't feel it yet. Take Marion, for example. After her partner passed away, she spent months avoiding social invitations, not because she didn't want to see people, but because she didn't want to be a burden. Then one morning, her neighbor invited her to the park for a short walk. No pressure, no small talk needed. Just a walk. She went. And they walked in silence for most of it. But afterward, the neighbor said, I didn't realize how much I missed your company. And that simple comment brought tears to Marion's eyes. Not from sadness, but from the realization that she still mattered to someone. You don't need to fill every empty space in your calendar. Just choose one. One moment, one invitation, one shared cup of tea. Confidence grows quietly in those spaces where you feel welcomed again. And once you take that first step, something amazing happens. You begin to remember who you were before the loss, before the titles of widow or grieving spouse shaped how you saw yourself. You begin to reconnect with the person you've always been underneath. That brings us to another powerful way to rebuild confidence: rediscovering a sense of purpose. Now, I don't mean launching a new business or saving the world, unless that's what you want to do, of course. I'm talking about waking up with a reason to smile. Something that gets you out of bed. Something that lights a spark. It could be as simple as growing tomatoes on your balcony, volunteering once a week, helping a neighbor with errands, writing stories from your childhood for your grandkids, even learning to knit or paint or dance. Purpose doesn't always shout. It often whispers. It's that gentle nudge that says, "This matters to me." After decades of building a life around another person, it can feel strange, almost selfish, to suddenly focus on yourself. But this is not about replacing what you've lost. It's about honoring it by living fully in the space it left behind. I remember a man named James who had lost his partner of 50 years. They used to travel every summer, always looking for new places to explore. After she passed, he didn't travel for 3 years. He said, it just wouldn't feel right. But one day, he opened their old photo album and found a note she had written years ago. Promise me you'll keep going, even if I'm not there to go with you. That summer, James booked a short trip to a nearby town. Not far, not fancy, but he packed his bag, wore the watch she gave him, and took a picture of the sunset alone. He said afterward, it didn't feel like she was missing. It felt like she was there, just quiet. Sometimes purpose is found in the small act of doing something you used to love, just for yourself. And each time you say yes to something that brings you joy, you reclaim another piece of yourself. Now, maybe right now, you're feeling like joy is too far away. That's okay. You don't need to chase it. Just move gently toward it. Let your heart open a little to what could be possible. A cup of coffee with a friend, a morning walk before the world wakes up, a journal entry that starts with, "Today I felt." Every one of those things is a step. A step back to yourself. A step toward healing. A step toward a life that still holds beauty, even if it looks different now. What I want you to know is this: you are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. And confidence doesn't arrive all at once. It returns in pieces, in glances, in quiet wins. You've carried deep love, and with it, deep loss. But that also means you carry deep strength, and it's still there. It's always been there. So take your time. Let yourself cry. Let yourself laugh. Let yourself grow in new directions. Because you're still here, and you still have so much to become. There's one more piece to all of this, and it might be the most personal and the most powerful step in rebuilding confidence after losing someone you love. It's giving yourself permission to imagine a future again. Now, I know even saying that might bring up some resistance. You might be thinking, how can I look forward when the person I looked forward to everything with is gone? That's real. That feeling is valid. But here's something else that's true. Just because the path ahead looks different, doesn't mean it's over. And just because someone you love is no longer beside you, doesn't mean you've lost the right to hope. Imagining the future doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means making room for what comes next. And when you do that, even in the smallest way, you take back control of your story. What does imagining the future look like? Sometimes it's as simple as planning something a week from now, marking a lunch date on the calendar, signing up for a class, even booking a haircut. Something with a sense of intention. Something that tells your spirit, we're not just surviving, we're moving forward. A woman named Della once told me she started a tradition after her husband passed. Every year on his birthday, she would do something new. Not because she wanted to stop missing him, but because she wanted to carry his sense of adventure forward. One year, she learned how to bake sourdough bread. Another year, she rode in a hot air balloon. One of her favorites? She started watercolor painting at 74. She said, "Every time I do something new, I feel like I'm writing a new line in my life story, not erasing him, just continuing me." That's what imagining the future is about. It's not about replacing what you've lost. It's about continuing to show up for the parts of you that still want to grow. You might not feel ready to plan big things. That's okay. You don't have to rush. But try giving yourself little moments of forward thinking. Even asking questions like, what do I want more of this season? What could I try that I've never tried before? Who do I want to reconnect with? When you allow space for these questions, you allow confidence to return, not through force, but through hope. And here's something important to remember. Healing isn't a straight line. There might be days when you feel strong, steady, and full of energy, and then a song plays or a smell floats by, or you walk into a familiar place and the wave of grief crashes again. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. It means you loved well. Confidence isn't about pretending those waves don't come. It's about learning how to breathe through them and trusting that you won't be pulled under every time. Over time, you begin to stand a little taller after each one. That strength builds quietly, but it builds. And along the way, it helps to remind yourself of this simple truth. You are still worthy of love, of laughter, of discovery. You are still a whole person. You always were. Confidence after loss isn't flashy. It's quiet and resilient. It's in the moment you look in the mirror and think, I'm proud of how far I've come. It's in the decision to put on lipstick today, or say yes to a dinner invitation, or speak honestly about how you're feeling. And sometimes, it's in the act of helping someone else, because nothing builds strength like being able to lift another. One man, Walter, told me he started volunteering at a senior center after his wife passed. At first, he did it just to keep busy. But after a few weeks, he realized something unexpected. The more he showed up for others, the more he remembered who he was. Not just her husband, not just a grieving man, but someone who still had kindness to offer, still had joy to share. So if you're feeling unsure of yourself, start by showing up for someone else. That could be offering to babysit a grandchild, dropping off soup for a neighbor, or simply calling a friend who's been quiet lately. Your confidence grows when you use it to lift others. You've made it through the unimaginable. That alone is a testament to your strength. And while grief never fully disappears, it can coexist with hope, with joy, with growth. Let this be your reminder. Your story isn't over. The chapters ahead may look different, but they're still yours to write. And you, dear friend, still have so much living to do. If anything I've shared today resonated with you, I want to hear from you. Share a moment of strength you've had, or even a moment of doubt. We grow through honesty, and your story might just be the encouragement someone else needs. And if you found comfort or clarity in this video, don't forget to like it. Share it with someone who might be healing too, and subscribe for more support, inspiration, and heart-to-heart conversations. Because no matter your age, no matter your loss, you are still becoming. Here's to the courage it takes to begin again. And here's to living your fullest life, on your own terms, in your own time.